You're literally rubbing cancer into our skins. I thought I was just gonna go and analyze who owns the sunscreen aisle, and oh my God, I was not expecting to go down this rabbit hole this early in the morning. I thought this was gonna be a quick and easy video about 3 brands of sunscreen and 1 small brand. And literally the very first Google search I did, who owns Banana Boat? Oh yeah, that's harmless. Banana Boat's owned by Edgewell Personal Care, who also makes a lot of tampons, by the way. But then I look closer and I realize that this source right here is about a nationwide recall for 3 batches of Banana Boat. Why? Edgewell has issued a voluntary nationwide recall for 3 batches of Banana Boat. Some samples contain trace levels of benzene, a human carcinogen that causes cancer such as leukemia and blood cancer and bone marrow cancer. Damn. What? Notice these dates right here? Because it gets worse, like way worse. Anytime you're worried about a brand or a product, type in the product name and lawsuit. And if you start getting a lot of results, that's not good. But it's not just Banana Boat. This is from 2021. The District of New York follows a report by online pharmacy Valisure, which detected high levels of benzene in several brands and batches of sunscreen. Notice how this is a paid site and I can't read the rest, but I can probably find that report. Type in all the keywords I can think of, spell benzene wrong, and boom, got it. In 2021, after analytical pharmacy Valisure reported benzene in 10 different sunscreen brands, including Banana Boat, also Aveeno, Neutrogena, which are manufactured by Johnson & Johnson. But wait, because it gets worse. If that report came out in 21, why are there recalls in 23 and 23 and 22? I found the actual report from Valisure, goddamn heroes, and it was published in 21. The FDA currently recognizes the serious danger of benzene and lists it as a class 1 solvent. A 2010 review of benzene research specifically stated that there is probably no safe level of exposure to benzene. Yes, I had to break out 4 colors. Benzene is specifically associated with blood cancer, such as leukemia, making absorption through the skin particularly concerning, as there have been multiple studies by FDA researchers showing that chemicals in sunscreen products are found in the blood at high levels after application to the skin. Benzene is one of the most studied and concerning human carcinogens known to science. It's so toxic that when it washes off of our skin into the water, it's killing fish eggs and destroying coral reefs. The EPA has set a limit of 5 parts per billion as the maximum permissible level of benzene in drinking water. Parts per billion is 1,000th of a parts per million, which is what the sunscreen is measuring. And the sunscreen is going directly into our blood through our skin. The FDA has clearly determined that benzene should not be used in standard pharmaceutical production at all because of its unacceptable toxicity. However, there currently does not exist any established exposure limit for benzene. The 2 parts per million concentration limit only applies in special circumstances, which do not include sunscreen. So naturally, mega corporations gonna megacorporate. Under special circumstances where benzene is unavoidable in the manufacture of something, then a 2 parts per million limit is set. Then using the worst product that they found in this study at 6.26 parts per million, that equates to 695,000 nanograms of benzene, which is 7,248 times the NDMA limit of 96. Yes, the limit is 96 nanograms. But they found 695.8 thousand nanograms in the worst sunscreen. Holy shit. But it gets worse. Additionally, a study by Health Canada's Bureau of Chemical Hazards has shown that the application of sunscreen specifically increases the absorption rate of benzene through the skin. Absorption through the skin and into the blood is particularly concerning regarding benzene because it's associated specifically with blood cancer. What the hell? Remember, your skin is an organ. These are all pores. It's designed to absorb things. We are rubbing cancer into our skin. We're literally supposed to wear protective equipment if being exposed to benzene at concentrations of 0.1 parts per million. 0.1 parts per million. You wear gloves. They found benzene at 6.26 parts per million in one of these sunscreens. At 0.1, you wear gloves. Bro, wait up. Hold the phone. What? Yeah, it's in the hand sanitizer. Guess when this study was done? That's weird. 44 hand sanitizer products. Oh, and did I mention that Coppertone is owned by Bayer, the parent company of Monsanto? Yeah, it turns out that this is what the sunscreen aisle looks like. You got Edgewell brand, you've got Walmart brand, and you've got Monsanto brand sunscreen. I'll make another video breaking down the whole chart of all the different companies that they found with the carcinogens in it. I also have a chart of the ones they did not find carcinogens in. I haven't even had my coffee yet. What the hell, America? You guys realize that for millions of years, we didn't have these above us? And for millions of years, we lived out there in the sunshine. Our skin is designed to accept the sun, as long as you don't just burn it all off all at once. Who was it that funded those studies that said that the sun causes cancer again? Who funded those studies? I mean, cancer rates couldn't possibly be going up because...
Well, that's concerning. Like if it's going into our bloodstream, then it's directly causing cancer. Meanwhile, there are strict measures from FDA, but yet the mega corporations doesn't care.
Once you see this and this, you will know that God really parted the Red Sea. You're not going to believe this, but professors from the University of Arizona have recently confirmed by using radiocarbon dating that the story of Moses splitting the Red Sea might not be far-fetched after all. But if that wasn't enough evidence for you, look what they found at the bottom of the Red Sea. Now, in case it hasn't clicked in your mind why this is such a massive discovery, let me refresh your memory. God spoke to Moses through the burning bush, and he told him to go to Egypt and tell that stubborn Pharaoh to let my people go. But Pharaoh would not listen, and so God had to send 10 curses to get Pharaoh to listen to him. Eventually, Pharaoh did obey the voice of the Lord, and he let the people of Israel go, but only for a period of time. The Bible says that Pharaoh again hardened his heart. He changed his mind, and he sent a fleet of what is believed to be 250,000 Egyptians with their horse-drawn chariots after the people of Israel who were on foot. You can imagine how scared the Israelites must have been as they found themselves cornered, and in front of them was this big body of ocean. God never leaves his people floundering. He told Moses to stretch out his hand over the Red Sea and it would be parted, and that is exactly what happened. Miraculously, gallons and gallons of water began to gather into these big two walls on either side, and there was a clear path for the people of Israel to cross safely to the other side. Now, let's just hit the brakes for a minute, because I want to show you a 3D simulation of what the seabed, the topography looks like from Nuweiba Beach in Egypt all the way to Saudi Arabia, where we're going to find Mount Sinai in a moment's time. Can you see how it almost looks like there's a land bridge beneath the water? This land bridge, this natural formation, was found 33 meters beneath the water, and the evidence would suggest that it's wide enough to fit 2 million Israelites as they made the journey to the other side. But what they found on this land bridge is going to blow your mind. You see, the Egyptians even had the audacity to follow the Israelites into the parted sea. And the Bible actually records this. It says that their chariot wheels started to get clogged up. Some translations say that their chariot wheels even came off. So it made it very hard for the Egyptians to drive the chariots. But that didn't stop them. They started to catch up to the Israelites. And you can imagine the Israelites, they're terrified now. They think, we're going back to Pharaoh. We're going back to this harsh rulership. But God knew exactly what he was doing. He told Moses to raise his hands again over the sea, and Moses obeyed. As soon as Moses did this, the ocean swept all of the Egyptians, so not even one was left standing. So, take all of that into your mind, and you tell me right now, if we scanned the seabed of the Red Sea, what would you expect to find? You would expect to find many, many chariot wheels, would you not? Well, take a look at this picture that was found on the land bridge, and you tell me, what does this coral formation look like? It looks just like a chariot wheel. But get this, when scuba divers went down with metal detectors things, they found circular patterns that were consistent to the exact shape that you would expect to find on a chariot wheel. Now come on, even if you're the biggest atheist on earth, you've got to admit to me, that's pretty strong evidence. Now, this is crucial. For many, many years, the popular tourist destination from Mount Sinai was in Sharm el-Sheikh in Egypt. That's where everyone went, that's where everyone believed it was. But now, as we look at this evidence that I'm going to show you in this video, and as we listen to what the Saudi Arabians have said for many, many years, they claim that no, Mount Sinai is in our country, in Saudi Arabia. In fact, I want you to do something. Just listen to this American pilot describe what he was forbidden to do in the 1940s when he was in Saudi Arabia.
And we're talking about where the real Mount Sinai is located. I had no idea that someone as far back would have seen the mountain and had been told that the mountain was the holy mountain of Moses.
Well, they forbidden me to fly around it, and it was off limits.
I'm going to bring out a map.
Yes.
And this map is of the area that you were flying around then. Can you show me the area that you were flying around?
Yeah, they told me it was Mount Sinai, that it was the mountain of Moses. I think God let me fly around it. That's what I think. I think He let you and me both live.
And did it touch your heart to have that?
It still does.
If you've enjoyed it this far, then kindly don't forget to hit the subscribe button.
That mother back there is not real.
And he looked back at her and said, I am going to take this whole plane down.
We learn a new detail about the person who sat next to the woman on the plane who went viral.
She did not disappear. She was going on a cruise, which would explain the disappearance.
A woman who claims to be a friend of hers says this.
Not drinking, not drunk. The guy sitting next to her, something was misplaced. She looked at him and he looked back at her and said, I am going to take this whole plane down.
One of her family members commented under this creator's TikTok.
She basically said that her cousin is physically home and okay. Mentally, she is traumatized and not okay. She wanted everybody in the thread to know her cousin does not drink and she does not take medication. She also wanted everybody to know that she is not a racist and that there was not a black man involved. You just wait for her to come out when she's ready and give her that space to do that.
Most importantly, it's good to know that she's home and physically safe.
Okay, so after this, she was in a couple of news and interviews, and in a recent interview, what's surprising is she didn't say anything. That's pretty sus.
Here are some wild facts that I bet you didn't learn in history class. The first known photograph of a person was taken in 1838. It only happened because a man and his shoe shiner were the only people still enough on a busy street to show up in the 10-minute exposure. In 1937, two women wore shorts out in public for the first time. They drew a massive amount of male attention and even caused a car accident. The Great Pyramid of Giza was the tallest building in the world for nearly 4,000 years until the Lincoln Cathedral was built in 1311. When trains were first introduced in the US, women were afraid to ride in them. This is because many people believed that women's bodies were not designed to go 50 miles an hour, and that their uteruses would fly out of their bodies if they were accelerated to that speed.
This is one of the strangest mysteries we've ever seen on the internet. So if you've watched YouTube over the past couple of years, you might remember an account by the name of 2020 Vision. If you were to go to the 2020 Vision YouTube channel, you would see a series of videos with random celebrities listed. Each video featured an eye that would blink, showing a year, a month, and a date. And here's where the videos got creepy. If you look through the videos, they were all celebrities who had passed away in 2020. And with the eye, it would show the exact date that they passed, which honestly doesn't seem like much. But the videos were uploaded all the way back in 2017. And here's an example of what one of the videos looked like. For a time, this took the internet by storm because soon after, even more videos were uploaded that became correct in 2021. But the creator of the account did actually come out and explain everything.
Okay, so one explanation to this might be that they uploaded a bunch of videos, and when a celebrity died, they published that video. I mean, they were private, then they made it public.
You ever been to Teotihuacan? This guy whose nickname was Gorilla giving us this wonderful tour, and he goes, wait right here. and we're in this giant square, and he runs down this dirt mound about 150 feet away, 200 feet away, and he goes, "Can you hear me?" And it was like, oh my God, I could hear him. He goes, "This square was built with these mounds here to be able to speak at this voice to 250,000 people."
Whoa.
And I was like, what? That means these acoustics are so perfect. Like, how do you discover that?
Yeah, how many thousands of years did it take before they figured out how to construct something?
Yeah, where someone on their deathbed is like, wait, one last thing about acoustics.
So those ancient people, they are not just good with maths and geometries and shapes and structures. They were also good with sounds and acoustics.
Conspiracy theories that I think have some truth behind them. Chapstick companies put shit inside here specifically designed to dry out our lips just so we can buy more chapstick. It's an endless cycle. All of those giant automotive, gas, oil, and coal companies are putting all of their energy into stopping and hiding development in renewable energy. Because as soon as we make that switch, they stop making money. Disney wholeheartedly believed that Hillary Clinton was going to win the 2016 election, so they started building her animatronic for the Hall of Presidents just a little bit too early because Trump won and they didn't know what to do. Instead of starting from scratch, they just tweaked the Hillary animatronic a little bit and called it Trump. You don't believe me? You can't tell me that that looks like Donald Trump. That looks like Hillary Clinton dressed as Donald Trump.
Hey, Elvis Presley is still alive among us, and proof just came out. People believe Elvis ended his life at 42 to get out of the limelight, but there was no real evidence of this until now. Recently, a man named Jesse, who was a psychiatry patient, was telling his therapist that he was indeed Elvis. He claimed this so many times that the therapist finally said, "If it's true, just take a DNA test." After the test, not only did Jesse's DNA match up to Elvis, but also to both sides of Elvis's parents. To this day, the therapist says he would testify in court that Jesse is Elvis.
He is among us.
What conspiracy theories are too logical to be ignored? Part 5.
It's very possible that we shot down Flight 93. I was in the Air Force from 08 to 14 as a crew chief. During I met multiple people that were stationed at Langley AFB and DC that said we definitely scrambled F-16 that day from that base, and some of them came back with less armament than they took off with. It's horrible to think we would do this, but it does make sense. 2 planes have hit the towers, 1 on the Pentagon, and now you got a plane that is not responding to any callbacks. What do you do? Again, it's horrible, but in my opinion that plane has got to come down. If all this is true though, the skeptic in me is surprised the length at which the government has gone with the stories of cell phone calls, heroics, the movie and such.
If you're ever in the woods and see these people, you need to run. We need to talk about this. Okay, so behind me are sketches of people called skinwalkers. Now, it's very rare to see them and live to tell the tale because they supposedly live in the woods and hunt, kill, and eat humans. And the way that they do it is terrifying. Basically, they pretend that they're in danger and cry out for help so that people will come to save them, and that's when they'll kill them. Will someone actually call one on video and just listen? Now, to me, the scariest part is that they don't speak any languages, which means the only words that they know are things that their victims have said. So when they're saying, "Help, somebody save me," they're just mimicking those they've killed. Here's another clip and just watch how he's walking. So if you ever hear someone yelling for help in the woods, run the other way.
You may not be stupid enough to help them.
Holy shit, is Juice WRLD alive? So you know me just, going through my TikTok, seeing videos all over my feed about how Juice WRLD could potentially be alive. Like, what the fuck? You know me, the conspiracy guy, like naturally I just decided to do my own research, right? And here's what I found. Don't mind me just getting my Starbucks to, start this conspiracy. You could be a man that likes Starbucks, don't come for fact number 1. This tweet came out before he got famous, saying his goal is to fake his death after he gets famous. Fact number 2, all legends die in the making. What's the 27 Club? We are not making it past 21. Psst. Juice WRLD died at 21. Boom! I'm a jealous boy, really feel like John Lennon. Number 3, John Lennon's death date, Juice WRLD's death date. Clever, an artist that Juice WRLD was working with, is going to release this album. If you read every single letter, it spells Juice WRLD is alive. Last but not least, this was his favorite plane, and this is the plane he used to fly to Chicago the day he died. Here's the kicker. If you look up where that flight went to over a year ago on his death date, it said that he went to the Bahamas, not Chicago. Oh.
Here's more proof on why Michael Jackson might still be alive. We need to talk about this. Okay, so quick recap. fact, Michael Jackson died in 2009 of cardiac arrest, and many think that he faked his own death. Okay, first let's talk about the paramedics who arrived at the scene. So when Michael Jackson had a heart attack, obviously the ambulance came, but the paramedics did not recognize the body as Michael Jackson. In fact, they said that the body resembled an old man. Now, many think that the body is actually Dimitri D., a 47-year-old man who died of a terminal illness that same day. Somebody even confessed this in an email. Okay, next let's talk about the trial of Michael Jackson. So Michael Jackson, being the celebrity that he is, had a trial after his death to make sure that it wasn't a murder. That's something that is fascinating to me that no one talks about, is that his lawyers fought to get his autopsy excluded from the trial. If you didn't know, an autopsy is an examination of the dead body that proves how someone died. So if no one saw the autopsy, how do we know that one exists? And how do we know that a body exists? Okay, and thirdly, let's talk about his daughter. So back in 2016, his daughter posted this photo, and people increased the brightness and sharpness in the back and saw this. What?
I mean, he had a point, but then came the tumbling fake picture.
Zing Zang, have you heard?
What's that?
I don't know, dude. I've been hearing a lot of that lately.
Are they killing goats?
No, apparently they're humans yelling sheesh.
What's sheesh?
I normally would know the answer, but I literally cannot figure this one out.
Is it Gen Z?
No, millennials say it too. That's why it's so loud.
Oh, did they say this when eating booty hole?
I don't think so. Tang Tang told me that they've simultaneously been placing their fingers on their arm and squinting their eyes.
Do you think it's some sort of special power?
Honestly, it's probably just the drug epidemic getting worse.
Right on.
Eating their body holes.